Amen. Let me say it's a blessing to be here tonight. I thought about Sister Warner singing that song. I thought about 21 years ago as we was leaving the funeral home with my mother and my brother. Of course, he was the baby brother, but he wanted to, as we headed to the cemetery, and he wanted my sister, she's the first one, he wanted her to be behind the hers first, and we'll be next, and him next. So we just lined up like he wanted us to. And it's been 21 years ago, and I think my mom was waiting on me. It's been a long time, but you've got loved ones that's gone, and they're waiting on you. So one day we're gonna get home. We have a place waiting for us that we're saved by the grace of God, and the Bible said it's reserved in heaven for you. Nobody else can get it. It's ours. I don't know where it's going to have our name up over it like some folks tell we have, but it'll be reserved for us. Apostle Peter tells us that. And I want you to pray tonight in Matthew, writing chapter number 6. In fact, I want you to go back to chapter number 5, and let's read a couple of verses there to find out who the Lord's talking to. Sometimes we read the Bible, we don't know who the Lord's talking to. We don't get the right message out of it. The Bible said in chapter 5 of Matthew, this is starting the Sermon on the Mountain, and seeing the multitude, he went up into the mountain. And when he was set, his disciples came unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, now this is Jesus, his disciples, and he's talking to his disciples. The reason I went back and saw that, I looked over there where he talked about that the Gentiles, that's what they seek, these things that he's telling. And so I went back and saw he's talking to his disciples, and most of them were Jews. And the Gentiles are talked about. But the Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 6 and verse number 20, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust do corrupt, and where thieves do not break through, nor steal. Now, I want to talk about it for a little while. He said to lay up your treasures in heaven. I'm afraid tonight that most of us is laying our treasures in the wrong place. One of these days, this place we're in is going to be history to us, and we'll be gone. Many has outstripped us and gone on, and one of these days we'll be gone. And there'll be somebody else take our place. I've mentioned many times there'll be somebody else live in our house. Somebody else will drive our car someday. We don't think about that right now. We won't keep that back in the background, in the shadow. But I know of that happening in the past. People leave this world. Somebody's living in their home. Somebody else drove their car. And after they're gone. So, but I'm thinking that we're laying up our treasures here on this earth. The Bible said to lay them up in heaven. And he said, lay not up your treasures upon this earth, because the moth and the rust do corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. So I want you to think about it for a little while. Are we laying our treasures in the right place? To think about tonight. And we could ask ourselves, where is our treasure tonight? I mean, somebody said, well, preacher, I lay the treasures up there and all that. But you know, the more treasures we have in heaven, the more that heaven's going to mean to us. And but if we lay treasures up here, then we won't want to leave them behind. We won't want to give them up. You know, there's a lot of folks, I believe, that the Lord was to come, and they say that they're Christians, but if the Lord was to come today, they'd say, Lord, let me stay here just a little bit longer. You know why? They've got worldly goods in this life, and that's holding them. It's got a grip on them, and they don't want to turn it loose. My friend, but the Bible said to lay up your treasures in heaven. My friend, the Bible said where your treasures is, there will your heart be also tonight. And so it's something to think about tonight. My friend, when me and you leave this whole world, we're not going to carry anything with us. It'll all be left behind. And a lot of times, my friend, it'll be left behind for the lawyers and the courts, my friend, to fuss over it. And most of the time, the family will get very love it. What's left behind, if they do, they have to pay what they call a death tax. They've been trying to get rid of that for years, but they just don't want to vote it out. Too much money coming in. My friend, so the leaders want to keep